Welcome to the Darkstream. Voxday, voxday.blogspot.com, and of course, Archaven Comics. Forgot to put the cover up. We'll do that now. Let's see here. There we go. And there we go. ComicsGate, Two-Face Van Soyver, and the death threats. So I thought that our involvement with ComicsGate was pretty much over. You know, last night I asked them if they wanted me to release the imprints. The imprints are released. We have removed the ComicsGate stuff. We've actually set the procedure going in to change the logo that's actually on the Gun-Ghoul system, or on the Gun-Ghoul graphic novel. And so, you know, I was thinking, okay, hey, you know, we're done with this. You know, we're just getting back to doing what we do. And actually, to be honest, we've nothing really to get back to, because we haven't stopped doing what we're doing. But what was reprehensible was that apparently on Twitter and in the direct messaging system, some of the people involved in ComicsGate around Two-Face were declaring war and threatening death threats directed against John De La Rose. And so, I mean, it sounded ridiculous to me. You know, when I heard about this, I thought, you know, come on, that's totally ridiculous. But what was interesting was that this revealed something that I've noticed, which is that Ethan Van Sciver lies about everything. He literally lies about everything. There's almost nothing that he tells the unmitigated, non-deceptive truth about. You know, what's going on right now, and the reason that we have this video is because 2VS is now under close scrutiny, and he has been under close scrutiny for a while, from the SJWs. Now, they don't care, you know, they don't like me any better than they like him, and that sort of thing. But what they are very interested in doing is confirming what they already know, which is that he is a habitual liar. Now, I didn't know that before. You know, I had no idea. But, you know, once I heard him running around and claiming that, you know, he didn't know about the ComicsGate imprint stuff. You know, he knew about it from August 29th. You know, we had a conversation about it. We exchanged emails, and you know, it's kind of funny because Ethan's admitted the conversation, but he claims, well, I don't really remember what we talked about. I was busy drawing. You weren't busy drawing. If you were drawing, you'd be done with Cyberfrog already. It's 48 frickin' pages. You know, and then claimed, well, okay, yeah, Vox did send me the emails, and he did tell me this stuff, but they were in my spam. I mean, this is ridiculous. But the problem is that even though we've given them what they want, and we've stepped back, and we've just said, hey, you know, you guys can do what you want, so be it. And so So this is the video that has just been released, and so have a watch. So they're claiming, remember, they're claiming that they're going to go to war. War is coming. Between whom? The war campaign and the potato head and his master. They're referring to who else knows? Does Caesar know about it? Tell me about Delarose. What do you want with him? Beheading. Public execution. Same reason you want him. Does Caesar will it? Yes. By Caesar, they're referring to 2VS. Okay? Now, there's several things that are interesting about this. First of all, that Ethan Van Sciver denied that these conversations ever took place. He denied this. William Marin says, I should not have recommended capitulation. SJWs always lie and never back down when concessions are made. That's true. I literally wrote the book on that. So you might want to think about why I would do that. You know, we never wanted that name. We never wanted, you know, we were never intending to make that a primary imprint. It was totally worthless to us. And so, you know, you need to understand that you always want to pick your battles. All right? And you'll understand more in the next few weeks. Just trust me. There's a time to, you know, stand your ground, especially if you've chosen it. And there's a time when there's no point in this. So anyhow, you know, like I said, the point here is that once again, we're seeing that Two-Face is caught out in a lie again. And so, you know, I mentioned this on the blog. The single most important aspect of this entire thing is that that we do not want to work with Two-Face. Not now, not in the future. You know, and this is important because Hedge Hobbit, you have no idea what's going to be coming. The SJWs now know what Two-Face's weak point is. And they're just going to start digging. You know, once you know somebody is a liar, it's very, very easy to find it. It's not feeble evidence. It is evidence, again, you need to look at what Two-Face said about the existence of the direct messages that are on that video. It proves, again, that he actually lied several times about it. And so, you know, it's just a fact. You know, just because he hasn't directly lied to you that you know of. You've said that before and nothing came of it. It's been 2 days. You know, the point is that 2 months ago, Ethan and I were seriously talking about collaborating. Ethan was talking to me about writing for him so that he could, yeah, because he can't write. Yeah, that's one of his problems with Cyberfrog right now. That's why he's got to bring in someone like Dave Sims, is because he doesn't have he doesn't have the ability to finish on his own. And so you'll see what happens when Cyberfrog doesn't come out in November. And so what will be interesting to see is how long these guys are going to cling to somebody who lies to them as shamelessly as he lies to us. I mean, it's kind of astonishing that that people are still supporting this, because what's the point? And so my suspicion, it's only a suspicion, I don't know, but I very strongly suspect that Ethan is caught in the same trap that John Scalzi caught himself in. And that's why you always need to be careful of what you wish for, because you might get it. No, there is no lawsuit. Somebody asks, is the lawsuit still happening? Just so you understand, Ethan deceived you on that as well. There has never been any communication from a lawyer in his camp. None whatsoever. Not with me, not with any of the relevant parties. So, well, it's not just that there's no lawsuit and it's not worth it. The point is that there never was anything to be a lawsuit about. Okay? And so, anyhow, so the interesting thing, the problem that Two-Face has is that he needs to deliver a 48-page comic that is worth all the money and attention. And he's not going to be able to do it. And so, it's not going to be something worthy to, it's not going to be something that merits mention with Watchmen. It's not something that's going to be, merit mention with Sandman or anything like that. And so it's going to be a disappointment. That's that's the issue. And so, yes, we're all just very terrified of you. Anyhow, there must be a Vox EVS discussion. There won't be. I will never talk to Ethan Van Sciver again. I don't want anything to do with him. The one thing that I require concerning people that I work with is that they are honest with me. They don't have to agree with me. They don't have to see eye to eye with me. But the one thing that I do not tolerate is someone who lies to me, and even worse, publicly claims the things that I say are not true. He did that repeatedly. That's why we began referring to him as Two-Face. And that's why, no matter what, we'll never work with him. So, it's not a, it's not like, there's any need to work with somebody like that. And the thing that was very important, I'm going to get rid of some of these guys. They're tedious. Let's see. Anyhow, the very important thing is that we are not going to collaborate with him. We're not going to publish him. Somebody said never say never. No, you don't understand why. It's not because I'm offended, and it's not because of any of this sort of stuff. It's that if you make the mistake of working with someone that you know to be a liar, something's going to go wrong. No, Hedge Hobbit, you're saying Vox needs ComicsGate, not the other way around. I don't need you at all. We don't need any of you. We don't want any of you. We've been around successfully running our game company and our publishing company for years. So we have no need whatsoever of that scene, that group of people, that movement, whatever you want to call yourself. We don't need it. We have we have absolutely no need to do anything. Somebody said, you feel betrayed, admit it. No, I don't feel betrayed. I'm disappointed because there was I think that there was probably a pretty good opportunity for us to aggressively take on Marvel and DC. That's what Ethan and I were talking about. But the problem is that Ethan never understood his proper role. And so so that there was and so he kept telling me, this is big, Vox, this is big. It can be so much bigger than you imagine. If you didn't need ComicsGate, then why the whole imprint? I already told you that. They were making a big deal about one of my authors. They were attacking one of my authors. I said, fine. You want Will to join ComicsGate? He just joined ComicsGate. Boom, there it is on Amazon. So, somebody says proper role. Okay, we're not going to put up with that kind of stuff. Bye. Now this is a good point. Bootface, you're correct. Neither of you have the power or reach to actually compete with the big two. Well, not directly yet. But things are changing very, very rapidly. Marvel and DC are down 20% over 2 years. The smaller ones are down even faster. There's a good chance that IDW is going to be gone by this time next year. And with everything that is changing in the industry, and some of the things that are taking place, we already have 2 potential movie deals in place. Once that happens, then we're going to significantly change the perception of what's happening. So, someone said Vox has lost no subscribers and no sales or donations from this. Actually, that's not quite true. We lost 1 Alt Hero Q donator. 1. And so so the thing that you'll have to, IDW just hired it. Hedge Hobbit, I don't think you understand that I always know what I'm talking about. Have you read their quarterly report? They are doing very poorly. The comics are not just a loss leader for them. They are losing significant money. Read the quarterly report. The reason they hired a TV... Here's the problem that IDW has. Most of the comics that IDW produces are other people's property. And so they don't have the same rights to produce things, and when they do acquire the rights to produce things, they don't make as much money. And so they are in a precarious position. So, anyhow, yes, the Q campaign is still active. It only began about, 6 days ago. In fact, we're very close to the first variant cover option. And so, anyhow, there's a lot of stuff that is happening behind the scenes. There are a lot of things that are going to be happening soon on the movie front and on the game front that are on a scale that is an order of magnitude beyond anything that we've done so far. Now, this hasn't, this stuff is not guaranteed. Nothing is done until it's done. I'm simply pointing out that you're going to see a very different perspective on the shape of the environment when these things start happening. So, well, we're not talking about MMO development money. I mean, we're talking about a lot, but we're not talking about that much. Let's see. Question: did you know Ethan was going to Spurg before you sent him the email where you claimed the imprint? No, I mean I told you we talked about it. He knew that is what I was doing. There was. I mean, what you have to understand is he didn't Spurg at all until his followers did. He was fine with it. He actually sent me an email before he sent me the "can't let you have it, pal." Before he sent me that one, he sent me an email saying, "People are pissed. ComicsGate is going to denounce you." So, Vox, will you enter the Euro, French, Belgium comics market? Yes, of course. We actually had one of them translated into French. Alt Hero number 1 was translated into French, but then the translator apparently didn't like what some of the changes that I'd made, and then disappeared. So, we're going to get back to that once we get the first graphic novel collection together. So, let's see. Yeah, exactly. Two-Face is not spurging; he is following his spurgs. Anything coming for War Dogs? Well, we're working on another book. Just getting started. We've also got a number of other books that are in the works. We just sent off the final draft of Jack Posobiec's new book. It's short, but it's smart. It's quite good. That's not the new author that I'm talking about. That author and I talked tonight, and he's going to make the announcement soon. We're going to let him do it. So, what happens after the movies based on your comics get made? Well, that's the point at which I would expect that we will be rapidly moving up into the number 3 position. I don't know when Tara's book is coming out. I haven't heard from Tara in months and months. Any opinion on Doug Tennaple? He claims he knows you. He does. I like Doug very much. We're two of the game designers active in this space, and I have a lot of respect for him. Earthworm Jim is a classic game. I can remember playing it with my with our artists back in the digital ghetto on the Sega Genesis. Doug does not agree with me on everything, but he's a good man. He's a Christian, and I have absolutely nothing negative to say about him. Nothing whatsoever. Let's see here. the primary reason they got so riled up is because they don't want ComicsGate associated with the alt-right. Well, that's fine and all, but then you can't run around saying that it's for everyone. That kind of, what kind of distribution does the studio have? Will we be able to see it in cinemas? If the plan carries through, and again, this is a big if, because it's completely out of my control. But yes, I mean, we're talking about, what is the word they use? A major whatever release, and so forth. So, but I'm not focused on that because there's nothing I can do about that. We'll do the deal. We're not talking about an option here. We're talking about working directly with the producers and so forth. Let's see here. Did Ethan reply to any of your emails about the imprint before it launched? Well, yes, but only right before. He responded to the emails that I sent him that day. He did not reply to the emails that I had sent him back in on August 29th. But Boxy, was your ComicsGate imprint going to serve as a separate faction of comics like the States and the USA? Well, my idea for the comics, just so you understand, my idea for the ComicsGate imprint was that it would be for the people that wanted to identify it and sort of build it up as a name in the comic stores and on Amazon. I did not want to force the ComicsGate people who might want access to our distribution system. I did not want to force them to join Dark Legion. And they couldn't be on Archaven. We wouldn't have them on Archaven because Archaven is only for the stuff that we create ourselves, the stuff that we own. And so, Dark Legion was something that, I didn't want to force them into. So I went ahead and got the ComicsGate imprint. We came up with the logo and so forth. And then everybody, flipped out. So now, since we have no interest in working with ComicsGate anymore, we don't need it. I mean, what would be the point? So, so now, and although I have to say, one thing that one nice outcome of this is that I realized that we need a better Dark Legion logo, and so we'll be introducing that very soon. I want a logo that looks more like the Archaven logo. Plus, the Dark Legion one tends to get a little bit lost on some of those covers. So, a couple comments. It seems Ethan just got shocked to save face. Exactly. He's following. Doug seemed really upset. He believes the EVS narrative, but then declared Vox is not a Nazi. Well, I mean, Doug, Doug's a very good guy, and he knows me well enough to know that, I'm not any sort of a National Socialist, and I think that he will probably begin to understand in time that not only is EVS's narrative false in this instance, but that it is reliably false. And I think that he will eventually begin to understand that EVS is 2BS. Let's see. EVS and many ComicsGate producers are aiming at the middle of the road people, not too far left and right. I think that's why you guys cannot come together. No, that's not true. You need to keep in mind that with Dark Legion, we have nothing to do with the content. We don't create it. They bring us this stuff that's finished. If it doesn't offend our sensibilities, we publish it. Fine. But Let me, I lost my train of thought here. Let's see, they're aiming at the middle of the road. Yeah, so there's nothing to prevent them from working with us and aiming at the middle of the road. Nothing at all. But the reason that we can't work with some of them is because they've demonstrated themselves to be dishonest. I will not work with anyone who lies to me or who falsely claims that I'm a liar. Flat out won't do it. Not now, not in the future. And if you know my background, you will know why. It's because I've made the mistake in the past of working with people that I knew to lack integrity because the opportunity was so good. And despite that opportunity being so good, despite them paying us well over $1 million, it actually ended up killing our development company. And so I will not make that mistake again. Once I know that an individual or a institution or an organization lacks integrity, I stay away from it. Doesn't mean I hate them, doesn't mean I'm at war with them, doesn't mean I even have a problem with them. I just know better than to, stick my hand into that kind of bear trap. So, Taurus Strange says, the problem is that EBS audience is widespread and he will lose tons of support. No, we're not losing any support because, you don't seem to understand. We have been around for 4.5 years, 5 years. We have a different audience. We have a different market. So, let's see. It's looking like EVS can't help but talk even if he has nothing to say and even if what he says is false. Well, of course, because he's constantly trying to influence the narrative. And also he needs to constantly be testing the water in order to figure out what his position should be. Vox Day, do I smell a rivalry? Is this going to be a Marvel versus DC type thing? No, it's not. Because Ethan is not going to be setting up a publishing company. He's not going to be able to run one. He's actually less suited, less able, and has fewer resources than Milo did. And Milo couldn't do it. I think that's what's brewing if ComicsGate folks can manage to publish a book. Yeah, I mean, even if they publish a book or two, so what? We published 2 books this week. We'll publish 2 or 3 more next week. We've been doing. We have hundreds of products out there now. I think we're into hundreds. Yeah, if you count our different editions, audiobooks, ebooks, hardcovers, paperbacks, we have hundreds. I mean, comparing a single ComicsGate author to Castelia House, Dark Legion, and Archaven is like comparing us to Marvel. It's not even a fair comparison. So, Avalon #2 this weekend. Next week. They're doing the lettering right now. Actually, yeah, you know what? I will probably have, now that I think about it, at the average speed of our letter, we will probably have the digital edition out by Monday. Why does Marvel make more per page than you? Well, their average comic is selling for $4.41, and ours sells for between $2.99 and $3.99. So they have higher prices. They make more. Did you see Alex Jones confronting Marco Rubio? No, I did not. EBS is so full of shit. It's really amazing how much people are buying into it. It kind of is, but we've seen it before. I mean, that's the thing that people tend to forget. We've seen these things before. CDA number 2. Yes, we're talking about Chuck Dixon's Avalon number 2 next week. Yeah, somebody pointed out EVS is not a publisher. He's not even a comics maker. He's a sketchbook artist. What he's doing, and more power to him, is that he is essentially doing extremely expensive mass commissions. If people want to buy that, if people want to support that, fine. But don't pretend that it's going to somehow revolutionize the comics industry. It's not even capable of doing that. Yeah, comparing Gamergate to ComicsGate is a laughable insult. I would tend to agree. I'm definitely not a ComicsGater, that's for sure. The Dark Legion has always had ComicsGate back. ComicsGate never had ours. Now they're threatening to withdraw their non-existent support. Big whoop. Exactly. What is the best comic you make you recommend? Well, I would say that the best that we have done is probably, overall, I would say my favorite is Alt Hero number 4. So far, we are attempting to improve it with every issue. I don't know whether we'll be able to do that, but so far we do seem to be continuing to improve. I will say that the 2 best rated comics have been Chicago Typewriter by Brandon Fiadino and Gun Ghoul by Will Callaghan, both of which are available in print. But those are both Dark Legion. Those are not. Those are just comics that we published. They're not comics that we created. So, number 4 was deep for a 28-pager. Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of the ComicsGate people would dislike it because it is intrinsically political. But we've got support for Rebel Dead Revenge here. And oh wow, we have greatness in the house. Twice over. Brandon Fiadino, the Dragon Award nominated author of Chicago Typewriter, The Red Ribbon, says, I backed EVS and company for so long, and they constantly shunned me for no reason, besides I was signed to the winning horse, and that's Castalia House / Arkhaven / Dark Legion. I appreciate that. In fact, Brandon, I'll tell you right now, we're going to have to do a new printing of your books because we're going to do the new logo. So, but I think you'll like it because we're gonna go up to the premium paper. We also have the author of the Quantum Mortis comics here, which are Arkhaven, and he says Brandon is a cool guy. Well, he is. That wasn't quite as significant as a comment as I was expecting, but c'est la vie. The moderate liberals in ComicsGate drove me to support Alt Hero Q today. Well, thank you. I'm glad to see that. Does the print-on-demand Gun Ghoul in Amazon Canada have the CG mark? Yes, it does, but don't order that one. That is being done by a scammer because Amazon Canada and Amazon US are slower than Amazon UK. And so what happens is people that can get access to the system, they say, oh, well, we'll print it out for you and send it to you, and then they charge you an arm and a leg. So, also, if you're in Canada, go to the Arkhaven Direct Store. I think that it serves Canada as well, and you can get it for $14.99 instead of the $25 that they're trying to charge you for that. Were you shocked by the amount of backlash you got? Yes, I was surprised. I thought that people would be, I mean, first of all, I thought that people were going to support it based on the conversations I had with Ethan and some of the other creators. Obviously, that was not a reliable indicator. Crazy Chameleon says, Vox Day, I feel you're doing what I wished ComicsGate would do. Well, I mean, that may well be true, but that people. I mean, here's the thing: people are who they are, and c'est la vie. We have to deal with people as they are, and just do the best we can with it. ETA on Rebel figurine, no ETA yet. Please keep releasing Rebel Den Revenge. Yeah, we're going to keep it coming out. No, there's no word for Comicology yet. F. Harper says, Alt Hero 3 shows you were capable of great storytelling in the format. Number 4 took it even higher. Thanks very much. John Doe will be donating to Alt Hero Q because EBS hates the 14 words. That's funny. Interesting. So, is Alt Hero 4 powerful enough to cause Emmanuel Macron to go into meltdown? It's in English. They don't care what happens in English. Larson says it was a brilliant and great idea that all would have benefited from. Sad, very sad. Like I said, it is what it is. Matt Vey says it sickened me how they treated Della Rose today. It is a pity. But, is Airbook a legitimate source to buy from? Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's going to become better soon. So, anyhow, that's all we've got time for tonight, but have a good evening. Don't get too caught up in this stuff. I'm not, you shouldn't, and I would just encourage you to, if you find yourself getting too worked up about this, just take a step back. Don't get on Twitter. Don't get overly worked up about what other people are saying. The people at Arkhaven are not even paying attention to this stuff. They're too busy. And you'll see that because you're going to see stuff continue to come out from us at the same rapid and even increasing rate that you've seen over the past 2 months. So have a good evening, and we'll see you at the next stream.